it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
Remember the time that him and his mama kissed each other on the lips? Do you remember that both of them was getting an IV at the same time? That's from the Diddy Freak Off party.
Lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to something
City.
called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what it
Camp.
was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Oh my God, everyone's been glued to this Diddy trial like it's a Netflix series with no pause button. But no one, and I mean no one, saw this twist coming. Out of the shadows, bam, Usher slides in and baby, he's not holding back. This man ain't just tossing shade or sneak disses. Nope, he came armed with recordings, honey, recordings that could tear the whole thing apart like a house of cards in a hurricane. And get this, word on the street is Diddy allegedly did Usher so dirty, it actually landed Usher in the hospital. Yeah, you heard that right, hospitalized, after things behind closed doors spiraled way out of hand. Now, before we dive deep into the tea, let's be crystal clear, what you're about to hear isn't gossip pulled out of thin air. This is all from reports, leaked testimonies, and the absolute chaos swirling around online. So if your whole image of Diddy gets shattered after this, don't come for me, I'm just a messenger. Apparently, Usher stayed silent for years. Gagged by NDAs, paid off with hush money, and bullied by serious pressure. But now, Usher's done playing quiet. He's allegedly coming for blood, with voicemails, phone convos, and secret recordings going all the way back to 2004. That's 2 decades of filth. And baby, Usher is swinging hard as Diddy's legal nightmare keeps heating up and more celebs get dragged into court. Don't be surprised if Usher becomes the nuclear bomb that blows the whole circus wide open. Because get this, he wasn't just a bystander. He lived through the madness before Cassie, before the others. Usher was there, deep in it, and this isn't about clout or revenge. This is about survival. Allegedly, Usher was caught up in Diddy's twisted world as a teen, only 14 years old when he was sent to live with Diddy. That's when the insanity began. Wild parties, hidden cameras, auditions behind locked doors. This wasn't just trauma, it was abuse. Let's rewind, shall we? Usher, fresh-faced and barely a teen, had just been signed to LaFace Records by L.A. Reid. He had the voice, the look, the future. But instead of protecting him, L.A. Reid shipped him off to go live with Sean Puffy Combs, who already had a reputation for being the wildest in the game.
Yeah, Usher. I met him when he was 14, and you know, my book actually opens with that because it was one of the highlights in my career. At 14 years old, this young guy comes walking into my office, and he starts singing. And I stop him early and say, wait a minute, hold up, this is too good. I need to go get some girls. So I bring all the girls from the office in, and Usher drops down on one knee and starts singing it to the prettiest girl in the room and starts seducing her with his eyes. He's 14.
Yeah.
And he has no fear, no anxiety, no nervousness, and he goes in and he nails it. And I'm like, okay, thank you, and welcome to LaFace Records.
Even L.A. Reid himself later admitted he wasn't sure if that decision was bold or just straight up reckless. But what went down in that apartment? Whew, that's when things took a very dark turn. Insiders are whispering that something so twisted happened behind those closed doors, it sent Usher to the emergency room. Yep, he allegedly ended up in the hospital after some incident that still has people shaken. And here's the thing, when the rumors first started flying, nobody dared say names, but the whispers, they were vicious. People were talking about someone bleeding badly, and it wasn't until later that folks realized it was Usher.
I know, and people know, that was around in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that you gonna give him a pass? Bruh, you know I know. Let me reframe you on something. Remember Usher?
Usher didn't even fully get what he was being dragged into back then. He once opened up in an interview admitting he got sent to Puffy's so-called flavor camp at just 13. And baby, he lived there for a whole year. That's 365 days of being surrounded by stuff a child should never be exposed to. We're talking parties, grown men, grown women, cameras, and vibes that were just off.
Lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to something
City.
called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what it
Camp.
was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
And it only got worse. Later, when Usher was pressed about what it was really like inside Diddy's house, he didn't spill every detail, but what he did say was chilling. He admitted it was packed with women and the whole energy was chaotic. He didn't spell it all out, but honey, he dropped just enough to make you wonder. He even confessed that back then, he didn't truly understand what he was witnessing, but now, looking back, he knows it was wrong.
It was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you
I
seeing?
went there to see the lifestyle,
Right.
And I saw it, and it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty.
And Diddy, that man was trying to be slick about it. There's a clip still floating online from a live stream where Diddy slips. He starts rambling about how he and Usher used to wake up together. Yeah, you read that right. He catches himself mid-sentence and scrambles to backtrack, saying Usher was around 10 years old and they used to fight over Frosted Flakes or something dumb like that, but it was too late. The room? Dead silent. Faces were frozen. Everyone looked like they had just seen a ghost.
That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and, damn, pause, but like, just back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up early. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And
What the f did Puff just say?
And then came the most disturbing piece yet. There's a report that Usher once sat at a dinner table with Diddy, Neo, Jimmy Iovine, and Cassie. Just imagine that table for a second. And right in front of them all, allegedly, Diddy punched Cassie in the stomach. No one said a word. Not Neo, not Jimmy, not even Usher. People online went off when they heard that. Like, how could Usher, who has a daughter, sit there in silence while that happened? But that just shows you how deep Diddy's control really was. These men weren't just bystanders, they were mentally trapped, brain scared. And Usher, he was one of them. But now, he's finally shaking himself loose. Insiders are saying this wasn't just about a few bad nights. This was a system, a pattern of manipulation Usher had to endure just to survive. He had to normalize the madness, adapt, numb himself to it. And over time, that numbness became silence. That silence followed him for decades, through hits, Grammys, and interviews. But the trauma never left. And here's where it gets downright shocking. Usher didn't just survive it, he may have helped continue it, unintentionally, but still. Because after breaking free from Diddy's grip, guess what Usher did? He brought Justin Bieber into that same world.
Justin Bieber walks into my office as a gift from Usher, who called a few minutes before and said, "Hey, I'm coming to your office at 3 o'clock. I have a very special gift for you." And he shows up with Justin Bieber.
Yep, Justin was just 13, the same age Usher had been when Usher introduced him to L.A. Reid. Reid straight up said Usher brought Bieber to him as a gift. And baby, that gift came with baggage. Diddy allegedly got temporary guardianship over Justin for 48 hours. Let that sink in.
You know, where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
I'm going crazy.
Crazy.
I'm taking this out tonight.
What you wanna do? What you wanna do over the next 48 hours?
48 hours. Let's go. Let's just go get some girls. Let's go get some girls.
But it didn't end there. Justin started hanging out with Diddy, partying alone at just 15. And there are videos, real receipts, where Diddy is making creepy, inappropriate jokes, asking Justin weird questions, warning him not to talk about what happened during their private time. It's haunting.
Back different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But you never really got my number, so.
Correct. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my number.
Yeah.
And it gets even more disturbing.
One clip shows Diddy actually asking Justin if he was wearing a wire, like he knew something dirty was gonna come out. And as for Usher, he's not ducking the heat anymore. People are coming for him, saying he didn't just witness the abuse, he may have helped extend it. One commenter went as far as calling Usher Diddy's first and dragged him for putting Bieber in the same line of fire. As more clips resurface and old stories get new light, the dots are connecting fast. And it's not just Usher and Bieber in this twisted web. Freddie P came forward too, alleging Diddy manipulated his own son, kept him close, separated him from his dad, showered him in gifts. The message was clear: control them so they can't destroy you. Diddy raised his own protectors. And baby, he did it by design.
It's more deeper questions that I be wanting to know, like, why were you so infatuated with a child that wasn't yours? Were you that little boy? I don't even want to start those conversations because that's not your child. You know what I'm saying? And for you to keep him that close, it's like you kept him that close because he might got your secrets because he's not your child. So if he's not your child and you that type of person with that type of character, you don't mind actually doing it to him when he finally reached a certain age because he's not yours.
And now, brace yourself, because the next part, it's straight up bizarre. People are even side-eyeing Diddy's relationship with his own mother. Yeah, you heard that right. There's a video floating around where Diddy kisses his 83-year-old mom on the lips, and the whole thing is just off. He calls her Mom Dukes, jokes that she's single and ready to mingle, and I kid you not, talks about taking her to a strip club? Like, what? Oh, and let's not forget the part that sent conspiracy TikTok into overdrive. She was spotted wearing white nail polish. And if you've been keeping up with this entire freak-off saga, you know what white nails supposedly symbolize in that circle.
Introduce her to my mom. We call Mom Dukes.
Hi.
She's getting a drip with me. She's hydrating. What's up, Ma?
Everything's good, baby. I'm here with you.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too.
Baby.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any weirder, boom, Gene Deal, a former bodyguard and well-known industry insider, dropped a nuclear bomb. She claimed Diddy's own mother ran what she called a modeling agency. But according to her, that agency was just a front for a high-end escort ring. Let that marinate. His mother didn't just influence him. She was allegedly right there, attending those freaky, chaotic parties, the same ones people whisper about, but nobody ever dares to expose. That's a level of twisted most folks can't even begin to process. And online, oh, the reactions were wild. One user said, she always gave me weirdo energy, probably messed him up from early on, and when you really start piecing it all together, Usher, Bieber, Cassie, Diddy's son, now even his mother, this whole thing stops looking random. It starts to look like a network, a machine, a cycle of grooming and control that's been running for years. Each person tied to the next, each incident connecting like puzzle pieces we were never supposed to see.
Combs gave that stuff up a long time ago. When she used to do her little modeling thing with her little ladies other night, the little wild parties. When she gave that up, remember the time that him and his mama kissed each other on the lips?
Yeah, I remember that video.
Do you remember that both of them was getting an IV at the same time?
Yeah, I did notice that, yep.
That's from the Diddy Freak Off party. And I'm gonna say allegedly.
So let me ask you this. You knowing her at one point, you knowing her personally, is she the kind of person that, will be a part of a freak off or no?
I think that she liked to party and she partied with young people. She's always been like that.
And still, despite all the mess, people are finally speaking up and calling it out loud. One user posted, I think Usher started out as a victim, but he definitely became an enabler at the very least. Justin Bieber is definitely a victim. You can tell by how he moves. As an adult, I just hope the full truth comes out and every person responsible gets held accountable. And honestly, they might be spot on. Because as wild as these stories sound, they keep stacking up one after another. More clips, more receipts, more patterns. This isn't just drama. This is a reckoning. A reckoning that Diddy never thought would come knocking at his door. And now, with Usher finally stepping up, with all those voicemails and secret recordings from way back in 2004, this might be the final domino that topples everything. He's no longer that scared teenager locked in someone else's twisted empire. Usher's ready to burn it all down. So, what do you think of this mess? Is Usher finally freeing himself? Or is he just trying to cover tracks now that the walls are closing in? Should he be held accountable for bringing Justin Bieber into the fold? Or was he simply repeating a cycle he never had the tools to escape from? Either way, one thing is for sure. Hollywood's darkest secrets are bubbling to the surface. And it looks like the industry's carefully polished image is about to take a major hit. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're watching this situation like a hawk, and trust me, the next chapter is gonna be even uglier. So if you want the real, the raw, and the uncensored truth, hit that like button, subscribe, share this with someone who needs to know. Because this ride, it's far from over. We'll see you in the next video. And baby, it's about to get even mazy.